back from the injury. And then something just, awoke in her, and now she's got this incredible passion for the business. And she understands that she's going to miss some things. Like, I think she was saying in like 2 weeks, there's prom, but she's going to be going to wrestle in New York, and she's not going to prom. So she understands that, to be to that next level, unfortunately, there's going to be sacrifices. And you hear it all the time, like, Owen Hart back in the day would fly home as quickly as possible because he didn't want to miss recitals or baseball games or, anything that involved the kids. But, there's the other side of it where you have a Ric Flair where, unfortunately, he lived his character so much that he was better on the road than he was at home because, while he's gone, somebody's got to be there to make sure everything's okay and everything runs as smoothly as possible. And then when you got somebody coming in that's not there normally, it kind of throws a giant monkey wrench in the whole thing. So early on, you're probably going to have to make that decision of, is this really what I want to do and miss all of this stuff, or is not missing something and worrying about that going to be the thing you need to decide? Which, unfortunately, if your friends are supportive and they're your friends, they're going to be around for it. So they're going to be your number one fan. They're going to come to, almost every show. They're going to, want to support you and help you follow your dreams because you're actually following your dreams. Like a lot of people, that are younger have dreams, but what are they really doing to get there? So it's going to be tough, but I think that, you'll just have to, it's going to be your decision at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's if you want to make that sacrifice, you really have to think hard about it because once you step over that line, it's hard to turn back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm pretty sure that through the hard work I've demonstrated, I'm 100% sticking in this business, and I've made sacrifices, and I'm willing to make more because I have a passion for this sport.
That's awesome that you already have that mindset of, you want to live out your passion. And that's awesome because years later, you're not going to regret it.
Yeah, exactly. I knew right from the moment I watched a wrestling match for the first time, I thought, this is so cool. I want to do this. So I know that even though it's been a long stretch and there will be more bumps in the road, it's going to be 100% worth it.
Oh, without a doubt. And you'll learn so much, not only about the business, but, life in general, and then also about yourself, because you're going to be on long car rides where, especially up in Canada, if you, continue to work as much as you can up there. I've heard about those Canadian, death trips. Like I've heard that, driving from one side of Canada to another just to make shows, which, it's basically the equivalent of driving from like New York to Los Angeles because, Canada runs parallel to America, but, just much taller, really. So, I imagine, you're going to learn a lot. So I can't wait to see where the business takes you.
Yeah, and surprisingly, for being on the public stage for under a year, I've already been granted this huge opportunity. I have a spot in Wrestle Academy,
awesome,
which is run by Jacques Rougeau, the Canadian Mountie, and QT Marshall.
Oh, I didn't know QT ran that also.
Oh yeah, there's 3 wrestlers who are eligible to win $10,000 and a trip to train at the Nightmare Factory.
Oh, and down in Atlanta, that would be amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it is the biggest opportunity that I've gotten thus far, and especially in under a year. of performing on actual shows.
Right. That's awesome. I mean, I imagine, with the AEW coming up to Canada, from what I'm hearing, a lot this year, I believe you could easily make it on some of those dark tapings or make it backstage.
Oh, man, that's one of the dreams.
I believe they seem to be more open and welcome to independent wrestlers than WWE does, which is understandable. They're, especially right now, WWE is about to make a lot of cuts. They're going to make a lot of people upset. But, when you get bought by another company, it's an entirely different thing. But AEW doesn't have that issue, and they run so many shows down in Orlando for, Dark, Elevation, guarantee I'm missing one of them, and then also Ring of Honor. So, it's going to be a great flood of, all right, here's younger talent. And then, the Acclaim started down in Orlando, and then they came, look at them now. They're the hottest tag team, and they don't even have the belts anymore. And they're the hottest tag team. So, it's just persistence and continuing to get your face out there and, wrestle different people so that you're learning different things.
100%. And I absolutely love how once everything started reopening from COVID, wrestling almost kind of blossomed. It's everywhere now, and I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
Because now there's... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, there's more opportunities being granted to independent wrestlers, and there's more opportunity to travel, to get your face out there, to go wrestle other people and work for different promotions.
Yeah. So do you mainly work in Canada, or you haven't had a chance to work in America yet?
I've been working in Canada so far, but when the opportunity comes to work in the States, absolutely I'm taking it.
Yeah. So are you reaching out to different promotions and stuff to try to get booked?
I've done that a couple of times earlier on, such as BEW, which is primarily located, actually they're pretty much provincial, but I don't really reach out to different promotions because I want it to be more of they spot me for my talent rather than me trying to reach out and push.
I can see that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So who are some of the veterans that you kind of lean on and ask questions to?
Some of the veterans I definitely still 100% lean on my coaches. The ones that have been there since day one. There's also other veterans in the locker room that I'm typically in that I will kind of seek out for advice. Vance Nevada, he's nice. He's really supportive, and he'll really helpful pointers, such as the Cauliflower Alley Club and trying different ways to get my name out there. And there's a bunch of other wrestlers that can deliver such good advice.
Yeah, it's just, you just got to, be open to it. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, will be like, yeah, okay, thanks, I appreciate it. And then from what I hear, they never do anything with it. But, you just got to take it in, soak it all in, and just go apply it in the next match. I mean, that's basically what it is you're going out there trying new things on a regular basis, and every crowd is going to be different. Every night's going to be different. Every opponent is going to be different. So that's awesome that you are, taking that in and learning all that.
Admittedly, I actually have a series of notepads on my phone for specific things that people have told me or given me for advice. And
Awesome.
I can't even express how many notes I have in my wrestling folder, because there's just so many of them at this point.
That's not a bad thing. You're still learning, and you're taking it all in, and that's all. If you could find a way to keep those, and you're gonna look back on them and be like, holy shit, like I can't believe, I thought this, but now I know that this is really what I should have been doing, and that's so awesome.
Oh yeah, it's not only to help me grow as a wrestler, but it's also to look back on and reflect and see how far I've come, to really put things into perspective.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because I know like Chris Jericho has that book of, all the 30 years in wrestling, and, he documented every single match he had, whether it was a 2-minute match or like a Iron Man match, and a lot of people don't do that. They don't know how many matches they had, but he does. And so I think a lot of people probably, especially if they want to be in this for a lifetime, start writing everything out, so that way years later you can look back on it and either make a book out of it or just read it for your own, shits and giggles, and realize, man, I came so far from here.
Yeah, it's I do have a note for the matches I have done. Unfortunately, by the time I started doing that, I can't remember how many matches in at that point, but I started writing things down, and I was able to backtrack and recollect, okay, I had a match on this day here. I had 2 matches on this day here. So even though I don't necessarily have specifics written down, I have my match count, and I also have which promotions were specifically under there.
That's great. I mean, you got to start somewhere with that.
Wait, what?
I said, you got to start somewhere with that. So that's good that you're starting now.
Oh yeah, and then as you start to see the list grow, then again you can reflect on that, thinking, oh wow, just in this year I had 20, and now this year I have this much.
Yeah, your year to date is going to be hopefully so much bigger, and you're gonna look back and like, oh man, I can't believe I wrestled that many, because a lot of them are probably just going to be running together, but you're gonna look back like, oh, I did wrestle that person. Oh, I forgot I did wrestle that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Canadian wrestling and American wrestling are not terribly different, but a lot of times the Canadian independent scene doesn't exactly get, bled down to America. Who are some Canadian talents that are out there that we can look forward to seeing?
A rising Canadian wrestler we can look forward to seeing?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, there's a lot of good Canadian indie wrestlers at the moment, honestly. There's a lot. There's a lot of talent located in Alberta. I'm gonna have to say, Ava Lawless, Zoe Sager, Harlan Abbott, MRB, Mars the Specialist. There's so many really good wrestlers currently in Alberta. It's hard to kind of narrow it down.
That's good though. I mean, again, Canada is such a big country that I imagine, each province has their own different group and bit of wrestlers that are, if we were to see them on AEW, this week, we'd be like, where has this person been my entire life or this entire time? Like, somebody's new favorite wrestler is someone they haven't even seen yet.